Hey guys, GameBoy3800 here once again, and today is a special video. Today we are timing all the automation cars I've ever made. We're going to start off here with the Super Hyper Eco V2. This has a 30 cubic inch, 32 horsepower inline 3 turbocharged. It is pretty terrible. We're going to give each of these cars a running start. And this car also has a front wheel drive driveline. I built this car to be as cheap and as terrible as possible, hence all the bad stats. And this video is gonna be special because it's gonna be the new way to upload, if I can get it to work right. It'll let you guys chat live while the video is playing. You can leave super chats and all that if you really want to. But yeah, you can interact live, or you can still have the regular comment section down below. It's a new way of scheduling, I believe. I saw H2O Delirious do it, and I thought it would be a great chance for me to do it as well. And yeah, this car can barely even idle in automatic mode. You need to use manual mode to get it to even move. Yeah, this is really bad, but it can actually reach highway speeds of 55 miles an hour. It just takes all year. And that's hilarious. So we're going around the automation test track today. And it should be a good test for all the different vehicles today. There's a good amount of corners, some good straights, a tightening radius corner at the end of the straight that's terrible, and you know, you gotta really slow down for it, otherwise you overshoot it after carrying the 200 or so miles per hour down the straight. This car though will not hit that. I purposefully leave it in a lower gear even though it can shift up, because shifting up lowers your speed slightly until it gets the turbo kicking in. Yes, it does have a turbo. It is the worst turbo I could possibly fit onto it, the fuel efficiency one. And yeah, we're just panting around here. It's not really too impressive. There's the upshift. So I'm using this time to let you guys join in the live chat if you want. Of course, I can't see it, this is not a live stream, but you can leave your comments there or chat with other fans. It'll be fun. And this car is not going to be a benchmark, this is just a start-off point to let you guys join. The next car will be the real start to this video. But as we can see, we're not even halfway done with the course here, and we are well over 2.5 minutes now. Here comes the beginning of this tightening radius corner I told you about. Believe it or not, I am full throttle here. Yeah, you can see how this could catch out some faster cars who don't have a lot of front end grip. Understeer off to oblivion. With almost all the cars here having slick tires, as soon as you get off the road, you're done. You can't get back on. So yeah, we're coming up to a tight chicane here. You gotta slow almost all the way down, get in the first gear, and hope you don't clip a wall. I overshot it because I didn't want to brake to lose any more speed, but I had to do it anyways because I overshot. Downshift to get a little bit more RPM. This motor is terrible. I made it with all the lowest quality parts, so it can only rev up to about 2100 RPM before that's the red line. The turbo really wants to have like 2500 or 3000 RPM, but it's just not going to get it. This corner is a little bit deceptive because we're on a hill, but it is a pretty tight corner. You do need to slow down quite a bit for it. Now onto another shorter straight. Let's see what this thing can do. Not so much. And then this is an uphill tightening radius corner. This one's not too bad because uphill slows you down a bit. So, yeah. It shouldn't be too bad, right? Hopefully not. This car is still chugging along. but we are coming up to the final corner and then the final straight. This is a pretty tight final corner because of the way the track is. It goes a little bit left and then it goes right, so it's tighter than it actually is, which actually can't get you out. But this is the final straight. We're on 5 minutes of this run. And 5 minutes and 6.7. I crash it, but almost no damage happens because we're going no miles per hour. That was the Super Hyper Eco V2. Next up is the Not So Fastback with a 5-liter V8 making 235 horsepower with an automatic 4-speed and is rear-wheel drive. We're going to get ourselves a little bit of a running launch here before the timer starts. We're going to do that for all the cars today. And instantly, we have far better speeds because of course it has a usable engine. And this car performs pretty well, it's just not too fast, as you know the name would suggest. Although we are making some good speed here. Once we get into top gear though, down the straight we will be limited because 4th gear is pretty long. The brakes are nice in this car. I believe I put on ABS so they don't lock up. I put ABS on most of these cars because a lot of the cars are pretty high horsepower and need it. I came in a little bit too hot for this banked corner here. We were up high pretty much the whole time, but with that we can keep some speed. And yeah, 4th gear is pretty long. Oh, we have a 5th gear. I need to change that. Yay. For you it'll say 5-speed automatic, but for me it said 4-speed because I forgot. But that was top speed going down the straight. Not too much on the brakes, just kind of coasting through this tightening radius corner. Now we can put the power down. Coming up to the chicane, let's see what we can do here. Now throughout this video you'll find I'm braking kind of early and then maybe even getting back onto power. That's because there's no good braking points for that chicane. Yeah, we are well over halfway done. This is going to be only about half the time of the other run. Yeah, about this car, my friend and I made it in a live stream over on, or in a video over on Confident Gaming. This is his dream car, to have a 69 Fastback in this color. The back end looks pretty good with the triple lights and the center logo and the twin exhaust, but the front looks nothing like a Mustang, so don't look at it. It's only because automation doesn't have a good Mustang-esque front. Coming down the final straight here. We get a time of 2 minutes and 41.5. Not too bad. Really not too bad. Considering that's about half the time of the other one, yeah, you can see how this looks nothing like a Mustang. Yeah, considering it has way better everything, it should be that good. Next up is the Mega Hyperwing panel van. We made this in a live stream for a fail race contest with a 2-liter V8 making about 200 horsepower. A manual 4-speed, all-wheel drive, or 4-wheel drive I should say. And we see the time to beat in the bottom corner here by the Not So Fastback. Now, the wing. We made this in a live stream, and we were going to make a kind of gravedigger trick with the panel van, but then that completely fell out the window when we discovered we can make the wings pretty much as big as we want, with no limits. So that's how this wing came to be. I had to zoom out to actually see the track, it's so big. But the wing actually does a really good job. It does a really good job. Because if you break the wing off, this car becomes very rolly, very oversteery, very I want to fall over and not drive. So the wing actually does work. Now this car is built for fail races automation thing, and it should be in eventually. As of this recording, it is not yet out in one of his videos. But it's got a manual 4-speed, or maybe even a 5-speed, I forget, but it's got Huge tires, and it's only got a top speed of about 110 miles an hour because of the way his autocross track is. There's basically no long straights, so you want to have acceleration. So that's how this V8, making only 200 horsepower, can do the job. And we're kind of wobbling around here because of all the wanting to fall over, but the wings keeping it upright. We are losing some speed. This is a 1940s V8, so it's running on leaded fuel, giving you lots of poisonous fumes. Of course it is. We're around the tightening radius corner very nicely, coming up to the chicane. Two minutes in, coming into the chicane. It is slower than the not-so-fastback. Got a bit of understeer from trying to gun it out of the chicane. That's my fault. But we were able to get back onto the track and not lose too much time. Some of these cars are hard to drive, and the result you see took maybe 10 or 20 tries, so if they go off the track and I let the run go by, that's because I was annoyed with the car and just wanted to get it over with. This car can get up to, speed in third gear pretty quickly, but once you hit top gear, it is lacking torque. It only makes 193 horsepower. It does rev pretty high though, and that's where you want to be. That's where peak power is. Coming down the back straight, we're over 3 minutes now. So this will not beat the not-so-fastback. But a 3 minute 5.68, it will not be the slowest time today, believe it or not. Alright, coming up next is the 428 drag. This has a 430 cubic inch 1950s V8 making 428 horsepower. This was built to be a drag car, so it's got a manual 4-speed. It's rear-wheel drive. Looks like it's got an open diff as well. One tire fires galore. So this car is a lot like the last one where fourth gear is really long, but the other gears are actually not too bad, and despite the very tiny front tires, it's got about the perfect amount of grip you want for this truck. It can take corners at relatively good speed, and it's not too bad to drive either. Coming around this first tight hairpin, we get a lot of one tire fires. We just keep it in the throttle and hope we stick. Coming up to the bank corner here, we're slowing down quite a bit because we don't have a lot of front end grip. Any fully manual car can just have the clutch dropped, and you can get up to your peak revs to help you launch better. And you'll see me doing that quite a bit here, but here we are at top speed in fourth gear. I brushed the wall slightly, but it doesn't affect the steering too much. Automation steering, or automation car steering, are pretty weak. If you even poke a wall, sometimes they just turn you full right or full left. And there's not too much you can do about it. Here though, it looks like we're fine. We might be pulling slightly to the left, but we can correct that with steering inputs. So we are good to keep going. Coming up to the chicane, I'm on the brakes, on the gas, on the brakes. There's no good reference points for this corner. We take that better than the Hypervan, better than the Hyper Eco. And so far we're on a pretty rockin' time here. I don't think the not-so-fastback has too much longer to live at the top of the table here. We're coming up to the second to last straight. We get up to speed pretty nicely, then we've got to slow right back down for this tightening radius uphill corner. You can see we're getting a bit of understeer. It's not too great, but because this is meant to be an old dragster, it's not really doing too bad at all. Or I lock up a little bit here and go a little bit deeper than I wanted, but we're good to go. Get a 225. Hang on. Alright, I made a mistake. It's not 225, it's 252. I got the numbers mixed up. Had to re-sort some stuff, but we're back. We have a big crash here at the end, but it's not going to affect us because the run's over. The time to beat is still 241 from the not-so-fastback. Having some trouble getting moving here, I don't know why. Oh well. Next up is the super cheap V12. This has a 508 cubic inch V12 turbo with 473 horsepower. Manual 6-speed all-wheel drive. So, that sounds like some pretty good specs, and actually it is. But there's one crippling downside to this, and you can probably see it already. This car was made with all the cheapest components, just like the Super Eco, but it's got a good V12, or good-ish V12. And, well, we had to cheap out on everything. That includes the brakes. This has the smallest, weakest drum brakes I could equip it with. You can see we're on the brakes already and not really stopping at all. So we have about 500 horsepower and we can't stop it. Other than that, this car actually does drive really nice. The big tires I gave it are gripping well. The wing I gave it is working pretty nice. And you're going to see me coasting a lot in this run because of the bad brakes. Coasting is better than roasting the brakes, so that's what I'm going to be doing. And I actually like the look and sound of this car. It's not too bad for, you know, what it is. I believe for this model I gave it a transverse V12, and it's like, I could have made it even bigger. So, I don't know. I don't know how it affects weight distribution. Here we are on the brakes again. I bet we are full on the brakes and not stopping at all. Coming into the tightening radius corner. On the throttle a little bit. We were able to stay on the road. Now we're going to use some power, but only for a little bit before slamming back on the brakes. A little bit more on the power to keep us going. I think that was a mistake. Do we make the chicane? Just about. Being a rear engine car, whenever you're on the throttle, you lose weight on the front tire, so you will get a lot of understeer, but this car handles it nicely. And here I was coming in too hot. I had to get on the brake somehow. And yeah, that's what happened. I hit the parking brake, and that does help, but it roasts the brakes, so I had brakes and then I didn't, and then the back end goes around. But because of the power, I was able to quickly reverse and then get into drive again. And that's how this run stays in the competition. Even without the spin, we wouldn't have beaten the not-so-fastback. But down the last straight here, we pick up speed very nicely. It's a good, powerful motor, even for the lowest quality parts. You can see we are full on the brakes, not stopping hardly at all. The rear brakes are toast. I'm still on the brakes here and we're rolling back. The brakes are dead. But a good time nonetheless. Next up is the not pink SUV with a 265 cubic inch inline 5 turbo making 462 horsepower, all-wheel drive, manual 5-speed. So this car is named not pink because in automation it was very pink. But I knew that the colors would not be what they are in BeamNG compared to what it shows in automation, so I named it not pink. And yep, it is very red, not pink at all. But this car is a great off-roader. Great on and off-roader. It's like the SUV that you want to take out to the woods sometimes, you know? I guess it's kind of like our Land Rover or Defender or whatever, but it's not looking like one at all. And this car has got It's built to be a normal car, so it's got the mufflers, it's got the catalytic converter, so it's got a very quiet sound to it. The brakes are pretty good. We do a lot of diving and roll and, you know, whatever the opposite of diving is on the throttle, the squat. But this car, it's also got a good amount of power, so it can get up to a good amount of speed. It's got the power mainly to be in low range so that you can get over some good obstacles, but you know, you can also use it for speed if you have the gearbox in low range mode, or you know, high range mode. With no big wing on the top, there's not too much rear end grip at speed, but we kept it together nicely there. Coming to the tightening radius corner. Now we might have some trouble with this car, but if it does go off the road, we have the wheels and engine to do it. Looks like we stayed on with a bit of a slide, so we are good to continue on without an issue. Alright, coming up to the chicane. Letting it coast before braking here. That seems to be doing good. We made the chicane, a little bit overcooked it, but we are good to continue on. We're coming around this long left-hand turn. I'm kind of on and off steering because of the oversteer issue. You can see me constantly having to counter it in corners like this. 2.5 minutes in. Looks like we're going to have ourselves a pretty good time, but the not so fastback still stays on top. Coming to the last corner here. It's a good turn for the last one here. Going down the last straight. Looks like we are 3.5 minutes. Not too bad considering this is an off-road focused car. And of course we poked the exhaust pipe off, but whatever. You can see how much roll we have. I tried to do a victory donut, but it just wasn't having it. Too much body roll. Alright, so the next car is the 540 Moline. This was built to be a sound test vehicle for a 540 cubic inch V8. 4-wheel drive, manual 4-speed, or maybe 5-speed. This is the most powerful car we've had as of yet. But it's got off-road style suspension, so it's got a lot of rolling. And I could have made the rear wing bigger. So yeah, I built this motor as close to spec to a proper 540 cubic inch Chevy Merlin engine as I could. So it's not quite the best running because I had to have the compression up and use like cast iron parts because that's what a real Merlin has. So you can hear at high RPM it kind of does clutter and clatter, but whatever. And we have a lot of rolling here. But we have a lot of power to back it up, so down the straight we should be pretty quick. We should reach our top speed pretty quickly. We almost got to top speed, but we're back on the brakes so that we can make this corner. We could make it flat out with other cars, but not with this one because it's got no grip, because it was built to be kind of off-road and only as a sound test. Alright, this tightening radius corner has gotten its first victim. We are off the road with the Moline vehicle. We are able to just power through it though and not hit any walls. We're coming up to the chicane. The brakes on this are pretty good thanks to the massive tires and the anti-lock braking system. Coming up to the long left-hand turn. Looks like we got a bit of understeer and poked the wall. We didn't lose too much time though, so we are good to keep going. We may have the truck slightly turning left now, but that's something I can handle. We're almost off the track again from understeer. We're going to let the power go down and hope it makes up for our lack of turn-in. Right, more and more understeer from this vehicle. Can we make up for it in brute power though? That's the question. We're going to the last straight with even more understeer. We're almost into the pit wall. Going down the straight, looks like we will have a new leader. So 239.5. And we can't stop. So yeah, this was a sound test vehicle just to see how well it did. You can see how well it actually does off-road there. Because of the off-road tires. This here's the better V12. This has the biggest motor I could possibly put into it. I didn't tune it very well though, so it's making way less power than it should. Automatic, all-wheel drive. We have even more diving and squatting and body roll than the other car. So this is even more uncontrollable, but it's got way more power. Can more power be the answer here? Let's find out. Getting lots of understeer from the big tires, not gripping too well here. Around the tight hairpin to the banked corner, we're going very slow. But we can just power through it and hope that that'll get us somewhere. We're turning in a bit too much here, but it doesn't matter. We're going to keep on going. This car can reach absurd top speeds, or at least reaches top speed very quickly, which is about 200 miles an hour. And I am honestly surprised I made that corner with as little braking as I did. Bit of braking coming up to the tightening radius corner. Will it take out another vehicle? We're coming in a little bit too hot here, yep. Just on the dirt. A little bit of oversteer. Correct it and gun it towards the chicane. We almost do an endo from the braking force here. Looks like I do need to grab a reverse here. Yep, I hit the wall. This is a difficult vehicle to drive, so I left it in because this run did take a couple attempts. We're coming up to the surprisingly tight third to last corner. You can see the understeer almost catches us out again, but we keep the brakes on and can then power through the next straight. It's a pretty short straight though before we endo our way into the next corner, tightening radius uphill. I go a bit slow here, almost turning into the wall. And then here we get off the road at the final corner, we just power through it. Hope it's going to be fast enough. This is going to be very close, it seems. Not really, 220. Even with all the mistakes, we had a great time. It's the new leader, and we have destroyed it. Ouch. Next car is the drag van. It's an 800 or so cubic inch V10 turbo, 1800 horsepower. This car was built specifically to do wheelies. The engine's in the back. Rear-wheel drive, 5-speed automatic. Time to beat is in the corner by the V12. And we get a nice big wheelie up the line. So this car also has a lot of diving and rolling and squatting. And it actually turns in pretty good when you're off the throttle, but then when you're on the throttle it just wants to wheelie. So it's a pretty good balance act of throttle and turning and hoping you don't wheelie. And we're carrying some good speed here. Coming up to the tight hairpin to the banked corner. I probably could have carried more speed if I didn't have to take the corner twice. We're going to wheelie all the way over to the banked corner here. That could have gone badly if I didn't get on the brakes right on time. Touching the inside of the turn, but we're fine. Wheeling even more down the back straight here. And even some more. You have to get on and off the throttle a lot when it's wheeling to control it. You don't have any directional control, oddly enough, when your turning tires are in the air. But we can get up to some pretty good speeds when we're not wheeling. I guess having 1800 horsepower can do that. Alright, the tightening radius corner. How will it catch out the drag van? This has some pretty good sized front tires, so it can actually grip in, turn in pretty well. And looks like we took that tightening radius corner about as good as we could. Looks like we got some more wheelies and we had to get on the brakes so that we didn't go into the wall there. Coming up to the chicane, the brakes on this car are very good, as you can tell by it doing endos all the time. You got caught out a little bit with oversteer from, or understeer from hitting the throttle too soon, but it's not too bad. Pretty much just coasting our way across this corner. We don't want to wheelie off into that water there. Alright, third to last corner, or whatever this corner is. Get some more wheelies. We have to quickly slow back down to regain control. Around this tightening radius uphill, we took this at about the perfect speed for this vehicle, and I'm glad for that. Last corner, we took it very nice. Looks like we're going to wheelie even more across the finish line here. And we're going to get another big crash. This is a great, fun vehicle to just mess around with if you want to see how well you can handle a wheelie vehicle. You can see here that the engine is in the rear. That's how it's been so rear end heavy. Alright, next vehicle is the Not Saber Turbo. We made this in a live stream, I believe, trying to make the Grand Theft Auto 5 Saber Turbo, which is based off an old 442. 550 cubic inch turbocharged, 700 horsepower-ish, manual 5-speed, rear-wheel drive. We're going to heat up the tires before launching. This car has tremendous amounts of wheel spin. That's the main issue with this vehicle. And we got a lot of oversteer almost everywhere we go. That rear wing does not hold it down too well. So yeah, this is meant to be an old 442, but we don't have the proper front end of one in automation, so it doesn't look too much like one. Instead, it's just a generic looking muscle car. I did get the tail lights though. The twin vertical lights, that's good. So this car can get up to its good top speed relatively quickly, but it's oversteery and understeery, a pretty bad combination. This car is even more drivable than when we made it on stream because I gave it ABS so that the brakes didn't constantly lock up. And I widened the front and rear tires so that we could actually turn and have some grip. I also made the engine a little bit more powerful by giving it a proper tune instead of just throwing it together. Looks like we're coming in way too hot for this tightening radius corner. Can we pull it together? Yep, we're good to go. Getting some drifting action unintentionally. Coming up to the chicane. Still not doing too badly here. I was lucky the car gripped up enough there. Yeah, oversteer with this car is the biggest issue. I don't shift up there because I would have had to just shift right back down. Even more oversteer. We're on the dirt a little bit. Alright, coming up to the uphill tightening turn. Let's see how this car can do under adverse conditions. We're on the dirt again from oversteer, understeer. And we're almost drifting it through the last corner from no control. Onto the final bit of straight. We get a 228. Not quite enough to beat the better V12 vehicle, but here we can see that this is a fantastic donut machine. 550 cubic inches of V8 power can do that. It also sounds pretty good as well. Next vehicle is the Not Shafter V12. This is made to be kind of a Shafter V12 in automation from Grand Theft Auto 5. 650 horsepower, 6.5 liter V12 turbocharged. Automatic 6-speed rear-wheel drive. This has comfort in mind, so it's got very soft suspension. Now this car was not very easy to drive at all. And despite having less power and less wheel spin, we're going to have a pretty difficult time handling this vehicle. If you thought the off-road vehicles had soft suspension, this thing goes all over the place, even under slight turns. And understeer, of course, does not help. We are almost off the road from the hairpin to the banked corner. We do have, of course, a lot of power, so we can get up to speed pretty quickly here. We are drifting off the inside of the corner there. We stayed on the track enough there, so we are good to keep going. A bump like that does not gain us time, so it, won't be cheating or helping us. Alright, the tightening radius corner with this little grip. Looks like we're almost to the outside of it. Now tightening radius. I think I'm on the power a bit too much. Can we keep it under control? Ooh, had to catch an oversteer moment. Looks like we're just gonna power through it and hope we stick. Looks like it worked. That doesn't always work. Gotta be careful with that. The hairpin, looks like we're braking a bit too early here. On and off the brakes, pumping the brakes. Now here the gear is not in a good spot for us because it's automatic. So we could have gunned it earlier there, but of course we had no boost. We're always having to deal with lack of grip oversteer. It's not power oversteer, it's lack of grip. And here's some wheel spin going up to the uphill tightening radius. Even more tire skidding. On the dirt on the inside a little bit. It's not going to hurt us too badly though. We do hit the wall. I think this does tweak our steering to the right. Let's see going down the straight here. Nope, looks like we stayed straight. Not going to beat the better V12 though. Or the not Sabre Turbo. Shafter V12 in Grand Theft Auto 5 is one of the quickest cars. Not here though. Just gonna make this into a donut machine. One tire fire machine. Overall not terrible, but too much rolling hurts us a lot. The next vehicle is the not so crushed Impala. This car is so loud from its 489 cubic inch turbo engine. Big V8, 670 horsepower, manual 4-speed, rear-wheel drive. This was meant to be the first variant of the Crusher Impala, with a big block Chevy and a bone stock 69 Impala. This is a one-tire fire machine. There's no ABS, there's nothing. This car is pretty difficult to control, but it does have one thing over the roadkill version. That is that it's higher off the ground and the suspension's not completely useless. All the suspension on the old Impala was collapsed, so it was very low to the ground. You could like touch the ground from doing a tight turn. This one though does have a bit better suspension. This is wheel spin oversteer city. Not very easy to drive at all. It's not meant to be. It's horrendously overpowered for the body style, and the driveline does not suit the power. It's perfect. It does pick up speed very nicely if you can actually get some grip, but we are hitting our top speed right about now. Hitting the brakes so that we don't fall into the wall here. A little bit too much turn in, hitting the dirt, but we're fine. Alright, how is it going to handle this tightening radius corner? A bit of step out from the back end there. We caught it nicely. We are not turning, still not turning. There we go. Alright, coming up for the chicane. This isn't going to go well. We're going in way too hot. Going off-road a little bit. That did not help our time at all. We're just going to jam the throttle and hope we can stick and go fast. It didn't work. Try again. On and off the throttle to try to keep some semblance of control. Now we're just understeering to oblivion, off the track again. Put the hammer down, hope it sticks. It's not sticking, but we're doing it anyways. So much oversteer. So much loud. This is far and away one of the loudest cars here. The only thing louder is another vehicle here. We're gonna do a bit of a donut. Hit the wall. Just hit the gun. Hope it sticks. It's not sticking. Do it anyways. And that's her time. 3:08. One of the slower times so far, but not the worst. This is a donut machine once again. And the one tire fire machine living up to the name. So loud. The Roadkill logo on this vehicle and the next vehicle was made manually, with each one having to be placed manually. This here is the Not So Roddy Rodson with a 5-liter turbo V8 making about 500 horsepower. Manual 5-speed rear-wheel drive. This has no ABS either, but it's far easier to drive because of less power. So same story, with the Roadkill logo on the side. I could not get Rodson to be placed on the windscreen, and I could not get the rear louvers to be a thing, but I tried. I put the spoiler on the roof, and I did give it the 240 badge on the hood and the top, or the hood extra exhaust, just like it ran at Lemons. This is another one tire fire machine. It is well more composed though than the other vehicle. Coming around the hairpin, we're doing nicely, keeping it nice and tight. How will it do along the banked corner? Will it oversteer into oblivion? Almost. We're on the brakes to make sure we don't go falling into their wall. Coming up to the straight. This is one of the car's strong points. It does have a good top speed. And it does drive really nice. You just need some ABS so you don't lock up the brakes. Having some difficulties keeping it around the corner and having some wiggly moments here. Alright, we were slower down that section because of all the wiggles, but let's see how we do around this tightening radius corner. Some big oversteer moments once again. Lots of wheel spin. How do we do at the chicane? We have better brakes than the Impala, so we do get slowed down much better. A little bit of a lockup, sending us a little bit farther in than we wanted, but we are good to go out the other side. Some oversteer is going to put us on the grass, but we keep it under control. And how is it going to do around this corner? The Impala went off the course. This one's got a bit of understeer, but we keep it on the road. I upshifted too soon here. Losing some time, but it's not too bad. Uphill corner. How do we do? We had to take the turn a few times. That's not too good. But we stayed on the course and we didn't hit the wall. Looks like we locked it up again and go a little bit too deep. But we can just power through it, going down the back straight for the last time with this car. It does beat the Impala by 20 seconds. This is another pretty good donut machine. And it would be, at least if it was not a one-tire fire machine. This car does look pretty good. I'm glad they had the dots on front end. So this here is the Super Hyper Eco V3. This has a 2-liter turbo at 900 horsepower. Manual 7-speed all-wheel drive, 2 liters. Now this is the very first car we took a look at here, but it's got a usable engine, and I gave it a wing and big tires and all-wheel drive to help cope with all the power. And this car revs stupid high, it's super annoying, so even when it's fast you don't want to drive it. But the funny thing is it does actually drive very well. It has good composure of all of its power, it doesn't get too much wheel spin. And the wings do their job, we get just the right amount of turn in for this car. It actually is a joy to drive, just not a joy to listen to. I love the audio levels for this car, it's just always under red. So it does get peak power at about 9,000 RPM, so that's why I'm almost always at the very high annoying sounds. But yeah, it does track very nicely. It does drive around this course pretty good. Will it beat the better V12? I don't know, let's find out. It's way lighter, but it's also got a bit less power. Coming up to the tightening radius corner, we're carrying a lot of speed, but this car has the grip, it seems, to hold it nicely. We're on the brakes early because we don't want to overshoot the hairpin here, the chicane. Doing nicely, we haven't gotten off the track once yet, haven't gotten any hint of oversteer. Having a little bit of slide here, but that's well controllable. We're keeping good speed around all these corners, although we did have to take that one twice. Oh well. Coming up to the uphill corner. Coming in a little bit hot with a little bit of sliding, but it's not too bad. We got our first hint of oversteer there. Here I hit the e-brake and we're across the bumps. On the power though, nice and early. What do we get across the line? 225.46. Honestly, not a bad time considering what this car first was. Like, easily 100% improvement. This car got a 5:08, right? This is less than half that. Of course, if you are dumb, you can make this into a good donut machine. It's not too bad a car though now, except for the noise. You kind of want to die after that. Next up is the Space Van. This is the first actually built to be fast car. This was made to be a fail race vehicle. It's a 2-liter inline-4 turbo with 489 horsepower, manual 6-speed all-wheel drive. That wing is mighty impressive and it does do the job. So this was meant to be a fail race vehicle, but I did not submit it in time, so instead it's just going to be something for you all to play with. It's way quieter than the last vehicle, I'm still adjusting to the volume, but this does have some great grip on power. It does have a little bit of understeer though. That's the only issue, you can see it's going wide here. But The brakes are good. Power delivery is good. The sound is good. The wing, it works. So we can actually go ahead and drive very nicely with this car. It does not really have any downsides other than, you know, the usual small car thing, being fast but difficult to keep control of. We're hitting around top speed here, able to keep good speed around that corner. This is a very high revving inline 4. As you can hear, it's got like 10,500 RPM. The tightening radius corner shouldn't be a problem for this car. Although we do get caught out wide for the exit because of on-power oversteer, or understeer I mean. We can just keep it in third gear here and let the revs do the job. We're a little bit wonky coming through here, so we are going to lose time. But we are going pretty quick overall, so we should still be enough to beat that better V12 vehicle. A little bit on the dirt, but it doesn't seem to have affected us too much. We're a little bit wide throughout this whole corner, but we can get on the power nice and early and keep composure. Uphill corner, we do have to take it twice and suffer from understeer. That's just my bad driving. But we are here at the final straight, taking the last corner very nicely. And it looks like we have a new leader with a 217.5. Great little machine here. Tons of fun, easy to drive, if you're not bad at the game like me. I do wish this could compete in Phil Race's event. I would have loved to see what it does. The next vehicle is the Cherry Chimera, or Chimera, whatever. This is a hill climb spec with a 375 cubic inch turbo, making 2,060 horsepower. It's got an automatic 7-speed, it's all-wheel drive. This is built to be fast from the ground up. About the fastest I could build for a V8. It doesn't sound like a V8, but you gotta trust me, it is. Alright, so we launch up the line, and this car has tremendous grip. You can see how fast we're going up to the first corner here. Tremendous power, tremendous grip. That big rear wing's doing its job. We do have some understeer though when we're not on power. When we're on power, we can just forcefully oversteer it and work like that. This car is so stupendously fast though, it doesn't matter what you do. Alright, we're around that corner nicely, but we have some oversteer to deal with. We're only 35 seconds in and we're already at the bank corner. Wow. We do get wide at the exit for this corner with some oversteer, but we can just power through it. We hit the wall, lose a wing mirror, but we're not tracking any different. We don't have any steering damage, so we keep going. This car was so difficult to get a clean pass on. I was trying to drift it around some corners to be stylish, but that didn't work. So after 20 or so attempts of that, I just gave up and drove it normally, and that proves to be very quick. We're only a minute in, and we're taking the tightening radius corner. This car is so fast. I do have a more powerful version of this, but it's got a limited top speed that I have to fix. So this could be even faster. Some oversteer out of the chicane. Through the chicane though very nicely. This long left-hander. On and off the power to keep control. Hitting the brakes, we're coming in a little bit deep here. And more understeer, but we get it turned in nicely for the second to last straight here. Almost on the dirt for the uphill corner. We're carrying so much speed through every corner, it's fantastic. On the brakes early. Didn't hit them early enough though, we're hitting the bumps. But we have a fantastic time of 2 minutes and 1.45. This car is a good drifter, good hill climb, good track car. The only thing it's really not good at is off-roading. This is just a stupid vehicle. You can have tons of fun with that any track. 2 minutes and 1.45, that's the time to beat. Now this car I also built to be fast. It's got a 130 cubic inch flat 6, making 750 horsepower turbocharged. Manual 6-speed, all-wheel drive. This car is built from the ground up to be fast. This car has the most grip of any car here. Let's see if it can beat that Chimera. It sounds amazing. It's got so much power, you know, compared to the body style and weight. We can carry so much corner speed, it just doesn't have the acceleration of the Chimera. Will it be able to beat it? Not sure, let's find out. This will slow us down. I had to take that corner a couple times. Yep, we don't have the brittle acceleration, so we are 40 seconds at the bank corner. We carry good speed through it though. And we pick up speed very quickly thanks to our turbocharged motor. We're almost on the throttle the whole way through. We poke the wall but don't get any damage. We're a little bit squirrely coming into this next corner. Let's see if we get caught out by the tightening radius in this car. Keeping it inside, a little bit of understeer, but on the power already. Slowing down on the throttle, slowing down for the hairpin here. A good job carrying speed through it, although we could have straight shotted it a little bit better. Alright, we're a little bit out of shape for this next corner, but looks like we've recovered it well enough. We have some understeer to deal with, but we are more than grippy enough to just power through it. We're carrying good speed to the uphill corner. On the power already. Final corner, on the brakes hard. Clipping the inside. Going down the back straight. We're not going to beat the Chimera though. We just don't have enough raw power. But it's by far the best driving car so far. With a 2 minutes 14, that's respectable. And if you wanted to, it can be a donut machine as well. So far, one of my favorite cars I've built. I hope to build another just like it, but with more power. Maybe out of an inline 4 or 6. Takes a long time to rev down. Great car though. A track monster, of course. Alright, next vehicle. Here's the Turbo 820. It's got a 2-liter inline 3, making 821 horsepower. I tuned the turbo perfectly for this car, and it's a good drifter, but I drive it normally around here with a manual 5-speed and all-wheel drive. So yeah. Get some wheel spin off the line, not too bad though. This was my first handling focused car, along with having a lot of power. So it does drive pretty well, but not as well as the 750 Turbo. And this car takes a long time to get on proper boost, so even though its peak power is 821, we're mostly around 400 to 500. And we have a lot of diving or bouncing on the brakes. I'm not sure what's up with that. That caused us to go wide outside of the hairpin to the bank corner. Alright, once we get up to peak RPM, it does pick up its speed very nicely. Will we hit top speed before the corner? Nope, we're sliding through this one off the power. How will it do at the tightening radius corner? We'll get caught out with understeer. Looks like I hit the e-brake so that we can just drift through the dirt here to stay on course and not hit a wall. We lost some time there. Coming up to the chicane. Having to brake at multiple points because of the way this car likes to drift. We want to not drift to keep corner speed. I may have forgotten there was a manual for a second there and left it in third gear for too long. You can see how this car just loves to step out. That's why this is a good drifter. Keeping it under control with some understeer here. I just left it in fourth there because I would have had to shift right back down. I would have been out of boost for the next gear. Alright, looks like we go way too deep for the final corner, but we can just power through it. Overall, not going to be enough to get the lead. 226.4. I believe this has slick tires, so I think we're stuck here. Oh well, not a bad car. Not a bad first attempt for a handling vehicle. So this here's the Super Expenso V12. This is the same thing as the Super Cheaper V12, but it's got an upgraded motor, usable tires and brakes. 2100 horsepower from a 589 cubic inch V12. Not too bad, pretty big engine. We get up to speed very quickly, going in a bit deep for the first corner. But this car is another handling dream. A little bit of understeer because of the rear-mounted motor whenever we're on power. A little bit of diving as well, but the brakes are very good. It has the best of everything. Around the hairpin to the banked corner very nicely. We have a ton of power. A little bit of quirkiness through the corner here, but we can get back on the power and reach our top speed very quickly. Down the main straight. I keep the throttle on, and we are through this corner very nicely, back on power before on the tightening radius corner. How will we do here? Carrying a lot of speed. Looks like we do get caught out. We're in the dirt a little bit. Just drifted through, carry some speed before having to brake for the hairpin up here. Now because this car before had no brakes, my braking points are a little bit off. And here we poke the wall and lose the big wing. But thankfully there's not too many more downforce areas in this course, so we continue on. It's through the chicanes that you want the downforce and down the main back straight. Since we're past those, we don't really need too much more downforce. We still have the front wing, so we can turn in very nicely. And even without the wing, it still looks pretty cool and drives pretty well. Here we are at the last corner. Coming up to the line, this is another very quick car, running at 2 minutes 11. One of the best times so far. The big motor can of course make it a good donut machine as well. 2100 horsepower I guess can do that. It sounds and looks pretty good. Alright, the next vehicle is the GT84 track spec. It's got a 2-liter flat 6 making 840 horsepower. I made this after the fact, but I made it so that it could have competed in Fail Race's event. And honestly, I think this has the potential to be the fastest car here today. It was built to be a good track car. Wheel spin off the line, but we get up to speed very nicely. It goes around corners so well. A little bit understeery, but if you just stay on the power, it will eventually turn. Like here. This has a 6-speed automatic, so we can just hit the throttle and let the automatic almost do its thing. I had to take this corner twice, so we are losing time there. But overall, we are matching the Chimera here. 34 seconds to the bank corner and taking it better. This car has such a good top speed as well. Slightly on the brakes here. Back on power nice and early though. Alright, we're braking for the tightening radius corner. How do we end up? We're back on the power even. I took it a couple times, but stayed nice and tight and kept good speed. The only thing that's really lacking compared to the Chimera is the brute force acceleration. Although here, we are getting up to speed very nicely with a little bit of power sliding, but we're fine. Next corner, we're around it very nicely with good speed. A little bit of understeer carrying us wide, but we stay on the track completely. Coming up to the uphill corner. I do lock up the tires a little bit here, but we're still good to power through. We're a little bit finicky coming through the last corner here, but we stay on the power. We have to get off the power to keep us from oversteering to oblivion. At 2 minutes 3.58. If we didn't have to take those corners twice, I think this could have been a new leader. But this took a few attempts to do, so that's our run. Another great donut machine. One of my favorite cars. We will see another variant of this go down the track. The only downside is the tires are too big, so it rides too high. But it still performs very nicely. This here's the Purple Void. So we got the biggest V10 twin turbo I could shove into it, making 2,700 horsepower. Automatic 5-speed, all-wheel drive. Now this car does have a speed limit of 172 miles an hour. I'm not sure why, but we barely hit it throughout this run, so it's not too bad. Lots of wheel speed, lots of wheel spin. A good drifter, a good dragster, a good sports car, good track car, good everything. Made to be absurdly powerful, but not too difficult to drive. And it's got an awesome roof-mounted exhaust. We do have a bit of all-wheel drive understeer, but we have the power to just power through anything. So much wheel spin. But it's controllable wheel spin, that's the important thing. Once we're through the corner enough, we just gun it and we get up to speed so quickly. And here we are at top speed, 172 miles an hour. We are on the brakes a little bit throughout the corner so that we don't hit the wall. You can see the car is slithering all over the place here. And here. We're on the dirt on the inside, and then we're on the dirt on the outside. This car does not turn in the greatest, but we have enough power that it kind of doesn't matter. Braking for the chicane, braking for the chicane again. Alright, we're a little bit out of power band for that, but we don't care. More power. On and off power here, so we don't oversteer to oblivion. This tricky corner catches out another vehicle. We're on the dirt. We do just power through the straight here. On the dirt for the entrance to the uphill corner. That's not good, but we do somehow carry good speed through it. Final corner. A little bit out of shape, but we just power through it once again. We got a 2 minute 9. Very good run. Another very quick time. We're not stopping for that run. This is the Donut King. This is one beat up car. Alright, the next vehicle is the XT238 Extreme Track Performance Pack car. This is the same as the GT84, but with a 478 cubic inch flat 6, making 2,381 horsepower. Automatic 7-speed, all-wheel drive. This is a beast. In automation, I made this car have slightly blue and slightly red pearlescent color. Of course, that doesn't show up in BeamNG for whatever reason. But with even more horsepower than even the Cherry Chimera hill climb, I think we have even better chances to win here, but this car does have a bit of a power band issue. It only has peak power at maximum RPMs. It's got a even mightier wing than the GT84. But because of the power band issue, and we do have a bit of an issue in acceleration, we are slower coming up to the banked hairpin than the other vehicles, but we can power through it all the way through, and we do get up to our top speed very quickly. Once we get into power band, this is the quickest car here, I believe. We're staying on the power throughout this corner. And coming up to the tightening hairpin, we're kind of squirrely coming through. I should have kept off the brakes a little bit. But we stay on the inside of it and power through it very early. My braking points are all messed up here. This is where I lose a lot of time. The automatic not helping me here. Not really knowing when to shift because of all the power. Shift down, come on, there we go. Coming up the uphill corner, we do have to take it twice because of some oversteer we have to catch. Final corner, we take it very nicely. A little bit of power sliding, but we are able to just keep on going. It's not faster than the GT84, which is the same car it was based off of. It's probably because of the added weight of the much bigger motor. But this could be fast if you can get the power bands right. Overall, one of the better looking cars I think I've made. The headlights and the taillights look amazing. Next up, the final vehicle, the Nitro Hyperwing. This has a 353-inch flat 6, making 1100 horsepower. Automatic 5-speed, 4-wheel drive. This was made just to see how absurd we could get with the wings. And this is about the craziest you can get. This is an automatic, but I do shift down to neutral and rev it up to get the turbos to activate. Now the wing here is so big, I have to look from the side to see where I'm going. With the other Hyperwing vehicle, I could just zoom out slightly and still get a good idea of where it is looking at the wing. Can't do that here though. Now this wing is very glitchy with the BeamNG game physics. If you crash into anything, you are very likely to crash the game physics. As for performance, other than having the general dive and squat features of off-road vehicles, it actually does grip in the corners pretty well. And that can be an issue because it likes to roll. Oh, we got it there. Alright, and going at high speeds here, the wing doesn't know what to do, and it flies away, and disappears. Usually that crashes the game, but it didn't this time, so we are good to keep going. And I wanted to make sure people knew we were stopping, so that's why we have all these tail lights. Alright, without the wing we don't have any downforce, so we don't have any grip. We're going to go far out here, clip the wall, grab a reverse for a second to slow down, and then we can just power through it This is a difficult car to drive, and with even a good run, it could crash the game physics randomly because the wing's off to oblivion doing whatever. So this is the only good run I could get of this vehicle. It does sound pretty good though, thanks to the flat 6. And those exhaust pipes are way too big, but they're just for show. We do drift around in the dirt and sand for this next corner. We don't have any grip because we're on slick tires. So we just power through it after we get some amount of straight line. And keep going here. Uphill corner. Made it nicely. Final corner. We do need to take it a few times because we tried not to roll it over. But overall, this has been a great run for this vehicle considering all the issues and the game crashing possibilities. And here's the leaderboard. Obviously the Chimera is number 1, CT84 at number 2, the Extreme Performance number 3, the Purple Boy at number 4, Super Expenzo made top 5, that's very nice. 750 Turbo, Space Fan, Better V12, all very close here. And we're just going down the order here. The Hyperwing does not come last. It beats the Not Schefter V12, the 550 Malin, the Not So Fastback, and the Not So Roddy Rodson, among others. And that's it. If you guys enjoyed, do go ahead and leave a like, favorite, comment, share, and of course don't forget to subscribe as well. If you liked this style of video going up so you can have the live chat, do let me know. And I will see you all in the future. Thanks so much for watching. Check out my other content, like the video, all that good stuff. Alright, thank you. Goodbye. See you in the future.